I hit the go live button. It says it's preparing, setting up the meeting.
Okay, let me know then when I can start.
We're
One
live.
hold on, one thing
I
for,
hit the go live button. It says it's preparing.
all right, now we can hear Emily. Isaac, if you need to record, now is when you should record for minutes purposes.
Got that. Bear with me just one moment. There we go.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining the steering committee call. I will call this meeting to order and ask for Charlie Conrad, our chairman of the Veterans and Military Families Caucus, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let me get my flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Charlie, very much. And Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ricardo Alfaro.
Presente.
Hala Ayala.
Present.
Sandra Brandt.
Here.
Mark Berklowski. Our newest member of steering, Carla Bustillos. Mark Kennedy. Jennifer Carroll Foy. Charlie Conrad.
Here.
She's on the floor, Isaac.
That makes sense. Doris Krause Mays.
Here.
Kim Crump.
Present.
Rebecca Daly.
Present.
Diane Carter DeMeo. Abby Easter.
Here.
Brian Graham.
Present.
Patricia Harper Tunley. Sean Lee Hoff.
Present.
Here. Patricia's here.
Excellent. Margot Horner.
Present.
Julie Hunter.
Here.
Elaine Camart. Gayleen Knoyton.
Here.
Harry Kana.
Present.
Senator Lucas, I assume also on the floor.
Correct.
Joel McDonald.
Present.
Eileen Montgomery.
I'm here.
Tram Wynn.
Here.
Zach Prokowski.
Present.
Alexis. Oh, there we go.
Here.
Gotcha. Alexis Rogers.
Present.
Matt Rowe.
Present.
Matt Royer.
Present.
Myself. EJ Scott. Manisha Singh.
Here.
Excellent. Charles Stanton.
Present.
LeVar Stoney. Chairwoman Swecker.
Isaac, Mayor Stoney is no longer on.
I was gonna say, I think he's fallen off.
Yes.
All right. Chairwoman Swecker.
Here.
Roberta Thacker Oliver.
Here.
Clarence Tong.
Here.
And Tina Winkler.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a very healthy quorum.
You're good. You don't have to.
Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure we're trying to navigate through a bunch of laptops here at the conference, on the conference room. Look, I don't have any prepared. Oh, first of all, there's another face on here that many of you will recognize. Former delegate and chairman of the elections board, Bob Brink, is on, and I have asked Delegate Brink to serve as our parliamentarian for the March 22nd election. So thank you, Bob, for doing that and for joining us this evening. I don't have any prepared marks. I can't hardly believe that 10 years really have gone by, and how much this party has changed and how much we have done together. Many of you were on the steering when I became party chair. And so I look forward to talking more in depth with you all between now and March 22nd and seeing you then. But I just want to say it's been, a real honor. If you looked at my video, I just don't even want to go over everything again, but it has been an honor of my life to serve with you all and know that we're leaving. I'm leaving. I'm not really leaving, but I do feel very good about what we have accomplished together, and I'll still be around. So with that, let's just get on to the business of the day. There is, you have an agenda that has been sent to you, and I would like to take, or I would take a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second.
moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. We will move right into the general business and the adoption of the rules for the chair's election, which will be March 22nd in Richmond. You should have also received from the staff the draft rules for the election of a chair. And I'm going to turn it over to Sham with Wingwoman Emily here to go over the rules.
All right. Happy Thursday to folks. I got the day wrong a little earlier, but we're gonna see what we can do. All right. Can everybody see the rules,
Mm-hmm.
the draft rules on the screen? All right. I want to go over a couple of things. Number one, a few dates and a few deadlines. So provided you all adopt these rules today, February 20th, the filing deadline will be on March 5th. 2025 to for candidates interested in running for chair to file.
March 8th,
Did I not what date?
March 5th.
March. Okay. Sorry,
Right there.
somebody said 5th earlier. Sorry, March 8th, 2025. I know.
Okay.
March 8th, 2025 for candidates to file. For an election to be held at our regularly scheduled Q1 meeting on March 22nd here in Richmond. Those are the two big dates within this document. A few things in it. Candidates will need to sorry, can we just make sure everybody's muted, Emily? Candidates will need to fill out a filing form. There's a singular filing form. There's also a form where candidates can collect their petition signatures. We're going to require 30 for this ballot, which is about 10% of the central committee. Both of those forms will be accessible to anyone who wants to run for chair. They can request it by emailing political@viademocrats.org. When someone requests that, they will get an email that has two links in it. One will be to the actual form itself, and that form is visible right here. So this is the form for filing for signatures to be filed. It'll have the specific candidate's name here instead of saying steering demonstration. For this purpose, we have Susan's name written in and the CD6 where she's from. So any individual on the central committee who wants to sign a petition will be able to fill out this form when they get it from their candidate and literally type their name, type in or select their congressional district, hit submit. It will go through. Here's the back end to it. It's pretty straightforward. That will all populate on a on a unique spreadsheet that every candidate will also be shared on, where staff will be pretty regularly going through and looking, all right, Susan Swecker, CD6, she's on the central committee. We'll type in yes. It will type in, it will show up as one signature accepted, and candidates will be able to track their signatures as collected right there. In the event someone submits, say Susan submitted it twice, we would be able to mark that it is a duplicate, or if I submitted a signature, we'd be able to mark it as no, not a central committee member, and all candidates would be able to track that. In addition, on this sheet, when they request it, will be a list of central committee members. I have grayed out all of the all of the information about individuals, but if you look in the tab or the little formula bar right there, you can see as I go through, it will update for what congressional district people are in, what type of member they are, whether they're an at-large locality member, a city county representative, or a party leader for section 4.1. And then it will also have their name, party position, and their phone number and email address, provided they haven't opted out of communication. That is an email that we have sent around to Central Committee members, and we do have a number of folks who have opted out. Moving back to the rules themselves, so pretty straightforward on most of this. One thing that I want to flag on point number 9, members of the Central Committee will be permitted to vote regardless of whether or not they are marked as present in the record of the secretary. The idea here was basically that, like, we want everyone who's a member of the Central Committee to be able to cast a vote for the chair. Unlike the DNC, we do not allow proxy voting, and so if someone is not able to be present, they cannot provide their proxy to an individual who's present in order to cast their vote. And we feel like the role of chair of the party and chair of the Central Committee is really important to have the backing of the central of all of the Central Committee members and not just those who are present. Relatively standard language here for if only one person has filed to be a candidate, then they will be declared they will be the only candidate who's allowed to be placed into nomination, and they will be declared the winner. Parliamentary wise, that's going to be via acclamation. If more than one candidate has filed by the filing deadline of March 8th, candidates will be allowed for 5 minutes total for a nominating speech and a seconding speech and the candidate's own speech. And then voting will take place. So we're going to be using Election Buddy, which is what we used for the Central Committee reorg 3 years ago. It's also what we used at State Convention last summer. This will be a little different than State Convention because we won't be printing out user ID or access keys and passcodes on credentials and passing those out. People will get an email with that information. There will be staff stations within the Central Committee room or right outside it on March 22nd, where people can go and get their user key or access key and password and log into their ballots there and cast their votes. Otherwise, they can ask us, and we're able to give it to them there. And then we will have staff who are prepared to troubleshoot via our email address. And whether it's elections ed or political ed or emailing us individually, we will make sure that people get their access key and passcodes. Folks will cast their ballots. They'll click submit. Candidates will need to. So this is something that they came from the DNC elections, where candidates will need to receive a majority of the total votes cast in order to be declared the winner. So if 200 people cast their votes, like, you have to receive 101. I believe this is something that Chairman Harrison actually articulated very eloquently during his presiding over those elections a couple weeks ago, where we will announce the total number of votes that have been cast, the total number that needed to be received to have someone declared the winner. And from there, if someone meets that threshold, that they will be indeed declared the winner. This deviates a little bit from what we did in 22. If no candidate receives a majority of those total votes cast, then we will go to a runoff to determine who actually meets that. I think the principle here is it's really important for a candidate to receive a majority of those voting to serve as chair. Like, if this ends up with a multi-way tie for second place or first place, and what determines who goes to that runoff to receive a majority, we'd use a coin flip to figure that specific piece out. We'd go back to the same process of a voting window opens pretty clearly at the discretion of the chair, who I think it's important here that we're similar to a state convention where the speaker as chair was able to look around the room and determine whether or not we needed to allow for additional time or that we could close voting and provide an announcement that we'd be closing voting. So we would close voting when it's pretty clear that there aren't going to be any more votes, and to effectively the candidate who received the most votes on that second ballot would be declared the winner, assuming we got to a second ballot. And then look, once we get through that, the candidate who receives the most votes in the runoff would be the winner, and they would take office immediately after.
Thanks, Sean, for that, I thought, pretty thorough explanation. And so with all of that, is there a motion to adopt the rules?
I move to adopt the rules. However, I'd like to just take a quick minute of personal privilege and thank Susan, not only for her 10 years of chair, but her many, many more years, which I'm not going to articulate because it will out me as well, of being completely dedicated to this party. And to say that, I'm going to get choked up here in a minute, to say that no matter who runs, we are just going to miss Susan, who's taken us through many, many highs and a few lows, always masterfully, but mainly moving the rules.
Thank you, Abby, for that. And we will not discuss how far we go back because we know we look much younger than that. And I thank you very much. Is there a second? Let's get this on.
I like the second, Charlie
Okay.
Conrad with a second.
All right. Now,
And I'd like to say this too. Somebody might take your space, but they won't take your place.
well, thank you, Charlie. It's been a pleasure. I remember the day you called me and when you moved to Virginia Beach and in 2000. It's been really just a pleasure to have you on the steering committee, and what you've done with the Veterans and Military Family Caucus has really been important. So thank you so much. Let's, I know people
hold
have their
on.
hands up. Hold on, Sean.
Can I have one second? Because you all are saying nice things, and I don't want my face to be the one that pops up on all your screens. Susan, can you unmute your computer?
Can we, I really appreciate everything. All right, all right, help me here.
I
Okay.
don't want to be the one
Yeah.
whose face is on the screen.
Can I just get, though, this is a request, and yeah, I don't want to cry either. There'll be time for that. But also, you guys, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be on steering committee, so I'm still be around. But I would really like to just get this, we've got a motion, we've got a second. And if you're raising your hand for discussion points, let's do that, because let's try to get the business out of the way. Manisha, you were up first, and then Harry.
Thank you very much, Susan. And of course, I echo everybody's emotions about job. Very well done, Susan. Thank you so much. Madam Chair, I have a suggestion. Members of CD11, and I too agree with this, would like to propose a candidate forum before the election of the next chair.
Okay, that is actually, let's just hold that, because that's not relevant to passing the rules. Okay?
So could we, I wanted to put it in the rules. Can that be done, or?
I would prefer that not be done. That is something y'all need to, we can't mandate that CD11 get one. And
not CD11. We are proposing that the DPVA organize it so that.
Okay, let me speak to that very clearly. I am opposed to that. And usually you don't hear me be that strongly. And here is why. If you all as CD committees or caucuses or whatever want to do that, but having gone through the, which I thought was a good idea, and I appreciate all the nice things y'all are saying, but I had an idea that I don't think worked out very well in 21, which was the gubernatorial and the lieutenant governor debates and the AG debates. And that was a lot of work. And it was really hard to do when you have more than one candidate in the race. And so it is not something I want to, this or the staff would be able to take on. What I would encourage you all to do is if you all individually, you want to make those offers, you should take it and run with it. But that is, and again, I can defer to Abby, who made the motion. Do you consider that a friendly amendment, Abby?
No. Sorry.
All right, thank you, Manisha. Harry Kana, you were up next.
Thank you, Chairwoman Swecker. And again, I have to echo everything everybody's saying. I know this isn't the time, so I won't here, but I think there's a lot we could say about you and your leadership here. On the rules, I had basically two questions. One is, I think there's a question around this came up at the DNC too, can Central Committee members sign more than one petition? And if the answer is yes, I have a proposed amendment to Section 5, which I've shared with Sham and Emily. But before I move that amendment, there's a second thing, which is that I think, assuming everybody's on board with the idea that, folks can vote even if they're not present, I think I also have an amendment to Section 9 to clarify it, because the way I read it, it seemed like if you were late, you could still vote, not that if you were absent, you could still vote, because secretary calls the roll and then you show up. That's what I thought that was talking about. So I have an amendment I shared with Emily and Sham on that too, and I can move those after that. One question that I had for, I guess this would be Isaac, is what's the quorum requirement? Is quorum based on people who are present in the room, or because ballots are going out to everyone?
Harry, let's just take us one at a time, because you're asking, you got.
Sorry, yeah, I know, sorry.
Right, so guys, so Abby, would you consider those friendly amendments? Yes, you could. It is the intent that you can sign more than one petition, but you don't have to. Let me make this clear. You don't have to, but you can, was our intent in the proposed rules.
Okay.
Yes,
I mean, I can move to add to the end of Section 5, Central Committee members may sign more than one nominating petition.
I will accept that as a friendly amendment.
Okay, then that will be, all right, then did you have another one, Harry?
Yes, I'd like to move to amend Section 9, and Abby, you can accept it as friendly if you'd like, which basically just says it strikes marked as present in the record of the secretary and just replaces it with present. So basically, whether or not present.
I'll accept that as a friendly amendment. And
Okay,
Sorry.
Yeah, whether or not they are present. Emily, you've got my amendment. I'm not adding that electronic balloting process. It's too complicated.
yeah, okay. I assume the third one was more a question, not an amendment.
Yes, the third one was a question, which I guess I'll let somebody answer along the way. So those are my two amendments, and that's all I have to say.
I accept both of those.
Can you say the third question?
it was about what is a quorum?
Under the circumstances wherever.
Mr. Secretary or Sham, do you all want to answer that?
The quorum of the Central Committee is 35% of the total membership being present at a meeting itself.
That would be 109 based
So
on the
people-
current total.
People in the room, even though they can vote absentee.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm lost. Does anybody keep track of who has their hand up next? Because it's not necessarily by the way it goes in this queue, so I don't want to. All right, then I'm just going to go top on down. Margot.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. And Susan, you're special. Okay. I won't be long on this. First of all, you mentioned, and I found it helpful to talk about some of the DNC stuff, but I wanted to ask you, what was the percentage for DNC of the people? You figured out was 10% for us for this election. What was the percent for the DNC in their elections?
10%.
It was
Okay.
It was
46.
it was 10% basically.
Okay, fine. That helps me out a lot. Also, too, I would include in here, because some people may want to know that about the use of Election Buddy. If they've used it before, it's helpful to know. I would just include that also in it. I had a question really about number 13.
Margot, I think we can just handle that when we send this information out with an attachment.
Okay, if that's what you want. Someone had recommended it to me. Okay, next, 13. With the statement, the chair shall lay the Central Committee at ease and order. I really just say what's going on. It might be a nice statement to say that. There may be a reason you say that, but a lot of people don't understand that kind of language.
Okay. I'm not inclined to take it out, but like, if Abby wants to do it, we can. I think it serves the purposes.
So Margot, it's to lay the central committee at ease instead of.
I would recommend we do the same thing you just said to Margot about the other thing. You can put it in an explanation, so you don't have to actually amend.
Okay. And
Your
Okay.
cover email.
And finally, one thing that I found helpful when we had our elections at the district level last year was that Ricardo would always be making statements about, you've gotten your ballot, and then he'd talk about it. And then we did a test one too. And I felt that was helpful because ultimately someone raised an issue saying none of that was done. And it was done because we were all there and witnessed it. So I think it's helpful to have that. Is Ricardo involved in this process?
Look, that's okay. So we're getting a little off track here. I mean, I'm really more interested here in passing these rules right now, and all these side questions about how it's going to be done and whatever, the sausage making of it, I think we can figure out on the back end when you all have concerns. But I really let's just stick to the basics here on this. But I can't answer but we always revolve.
We haven't.
I think we absolutely need to do that. Suppose we get in there and something doesn't go exactly the way we anticipate. If we make the rules too specific, we could get in a situation where we have to amend the rules to vote. So I think leaving it kind of basic like this.
Like if something shuts down, we just got to go to paper ballots or something.
Right, or something. Exactly. So let's not lock ourselves into.
Thanks, Abby. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, somebody told me, but I don't want to overlook anybody, but Silene, did you have your hand up and it came down? Because I don't see you.
Yeah, it came down because Harry addressed what I was concerned about. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Joel.
Thank you. I have what's probably an insignificant friendly amendment for grammar on section 10. I think there's an extra comma after the chair.
I accept that as a friendly amendment. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I love a grammar nerd. I love it. That's great.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Hi, I would like to amend the motion to include all votes. I think it's important that every vote is counted, even the abstentions. That's pretty much the democratic way. So I'd like to amend the motion to say that.
What number is that, Rebecca?
I want to amend the motion to include counting the abstentions.
Where would that go in?
Yeah, where does that go? Thank you.
Hold on one second. Number 10.
Oh, I see. Abstention shall not be counted for the purpose of wherever it was. Sean, you move things.
It'd be number 16, Abby.
Oh, sorry. I did give you the wrong number.
Yeah, abstention shall not be counted for the purpose of determining the total number of votes cast. So what you're asking, Rebecca, is that when the total is announced, it's announced like 280 votes cast, 100 and blah, 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 and this many abstentions. Is that what you're asking for?
I'm saying they should be counted just like the other votes and included
in the total. I'll accept that as a friendly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Matt Royer.
In terms of the signature collecting, I think that one of the things we should be looking for is also some of the regional regional representation in that signature collecting. So I would propose to amend the 30 nominating signatures to be 30 nominating signatures from at least 5 different congressional districts, so that we can have as many people in the saying who is a candidate and who can nominate to be a candidate. So
Abby, would you consider that a friendly amendment?
I think what I'd like to hear is other people's voices on that. I feel like that shouldn't unilaterally be me. I will point out that people are signing electronically, so at least it's feasible. But I'd like to hear how other steering committee members feel. I feel a little dictatorial if I make a unilateral decision.
Yeah, that's hey, Matt, I do want to hear from people that Hala, do you so hold that Hala, do you have
I don't have an amendment. I just have clarification on one, Matt's amendment, and then going back to number 10, the amendment by Rebecca, who was talking about the totality. I'm a little disconnected from the clarification of that. So before I felt comfortable, voting for it, I just need some more clarity on what.
The abstention is counted as if somebody abstains, they are making an active effort to vote an abstention. So
Yes.
they are counted in the totality.
But isn't that what so for my clarity,
Clarify, it did not make that clear in this, and so that clears it up.
I guess when you are counting votes, you do not recognize the abstentions in the vote tallies. Like, so what would differ? What would be the deviation from what was already said? So from what I recall, and maybe it's changed since then, is that you would go down the list, but how if
Let me defer to Sham on that.
I think what maybe people are getting at is if we have folks that are abstaining, then does that count towards when we're talking about majority vote here, by abstaining, does that reduce the
well, that's what I want to know, the impact, right?
Like I think that's the main question.
Mark, I just took it as we would count it and announce it in the total. Right, so there were 100 votes and 36 abstentions.
Yeah.
But how does that, like what Mark's point was where I was getting at, is that the totality, how does that impact the ration, the
I
percent?
thought Rebecca was saying that should be ignored.
Sham's gonna be able to speak to that, I think.
Okay, great.
220 people vote in this election, and 101 people vote for one candidate, 99 vote for another, but 20 people abstain. That would mean that no candidate received a majority of the total votes cast, because no one hit the number of 211, which would be a majority of 220. So by including abstentions, you would require a candidate to get a majority of the total votes cast and treating abstentions as a vote cast, as opposed to not counting those. And then you would go to a second ballot where you would have to go through that same process.
I just want to make sure like the language for that explanation is clear in that 10, because it can mean a lot of things. And then if I can, what Matt was saying about 5, I heard part of it and on my end it disconnected. Could you just make the statement again? And if that's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I was asking to amend the 30 signatures to be 30 signatures that represent at least 5 different congressional districts, similar to how our statewide candidates collect signatures from different congressional districts, just so that we could have some regional diversity in the nominating process.
I mean, just so you know, Matt, I'm fine, but I'd like to hear how other people feel.
I don't understand like how that brings the contrast that you're looking for. We have the steering committee, all of our representatives are going to be there, and whoever votes is coming from different CDs, right? The majority would not be from one CD, right? Or one steering CD. Susan, you're on mute.
Okay, who?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, Sham, I'm gonna let you answer that.
This is about nominating signatures. This isn't about
nominating signatures. Okay.
So what Matt's requesting is to add, and I can put it in language here. So it'd be 30 nominating.
Got it. Okay, that's clear.
Representing at least 5 congressional districts.
If no one has a problem with it, I'm happy.
The qualification. Okay, that's where I disconnected from that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Just the signature portion.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in and say that I support
Trying to get to you, Gayleen. Okay, go ahead.
I support that. I think that's fair to have, to make sure we have representation.
Thanks. And Gayleen, did you have something else or was that just what you wanted to convey?
That's all I wanted to say.
I'm going to go next to Matt Rowe because our candidate for city council, right?
Yep, City Council in Fredericksburg.
Hey, you haven't had a chance to speak yet.
No, I was going to actually agree with Matt Royer's amendment because otherwise you could just have a candidate clean up in 2 CDs to get to
Right.
30 signatures. So I like the idea of the CD part.
Great. And Joel, did you have something else too, or is that just a hand up from before?
I did, thank you. I'm kind of returning to the discussion about how absentees are counted in the vote process. One of the things I just wanted to flag is that absentee votes may be considered protest votes against anyone who's running. Not likely to change no matter how many ballots you have, and enough of them may stall the process of electing a chair. Just wanted to flag that and see if there's a process or procedure we might be able to put in place if we were counting absentees toward the totality in order to get a majority.
You mean abstentions, Joel?
Yes, abstentions. I apologize.
So, Joel, in line or section 20 of the rules, in the runoff round, it switches to a plurality where the candidate who receives the most votes in the runoff shall be declared the winner. So you're guaranteed to have a winner after the second ballot.
Okay.
And that's the most votes, including abstentions?
It's just the most votes. It's not a
It's most votes.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Thank you for the clarity.
All righty. Thank all of you.
I see Celine, is your hand still up? Sorry, Susan.
Yeah, I can't still see it. So you tell me.
My hand's up. I just wanted to say that I agree with Matt. I can't see what number it is, but I agree with Matt to have this petitions. The signatures come from at least 5 different congressional districts.
Great. Thank you. For some reason, I don't see you on here, so I apologize for then I keep missing you. All right, look, so it looks like we've given a pretty thorough vetting of these rules.
Sorry, Abby, did Abby?
I'm going to accept the 5 CDs as a friendly amendment, so we only have 1 vote.
Great. So does everybody understand what we are now voting on? I think Sham has put it, or Emily have put it in the rules here as we've gone through it. So if everybody understands what we're doing, I would ask then for all in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any no's? Yay, we have rules. So let me see where we are. Appreciate everybody's time. And again, I had a couple things, and Delegate Brink, thank you so much for being willing to help us out on March 22nd. I am going to have a reception after the steering committee meeting that evening that all Central steering, our parliamentarian, will be invited to, and it is not a fundraiser. It is on Susan Swecker here as a small way to thank you all for everything that you have done and meant to me over these years. I know there was one thing I did want to get your all's input and advice on. I know that the team has been working with CD chairs and Tina as the head of city county chairs, for some meetings that weekend, caucuses too. So thank you all for that. I don't want to go down this road. I have heard you all about having, more substantive things to do at the meeting, but with knowing that there are meetings before and after, would you all be interested in me trying to pull together a panel of, we've batted around some names for Saturday afternoon, maybe 2-ish or something like that, of someone to talk about, like of some authority to talk about this year's cycle and do some Q&A, like a panel discussion, but then have Q&A. But I only want to try to do this if you guys and gals are going to stay around for it.
Can I ask when
Not
that's going to
everybody's
happen? Is it going to be before the reception or after the
No,
reception?
the reception is Friday, so this would be
Oh,
Saturday.
okay.
I think the only time we can fit it in is after, because Tina has her meeting with city county chairs and gathering Saturday morning, and then I know there's some caucuses and CDs that are gathering right after the meeting, but you know, I was thought 2:30 would probably be a time that would work, but I would just need to know that folks felt like that was worth staying for before we put the effort into it.
Susan, can I ask when Tina's meeting will be that morning?
Sure. Chom or Tina, can y'all remind me what time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Okay, and then, so you're figuring potentially that would we begin the central committee meeting at 10 or 11?
No, that's at 11 o'clock, but the meeting is, the city county meeting is in the same room, and we'll need time to set up and do a quick.
Okay, but with your game plan or timeline potential, would it be after, yes, it's definitely after Tina's meeting, but would that be 10 or 10:30 or 11?
Oh, no, after
Our meeting starts at 11.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, central. And when would be the meetings in the afternoon or this other meeting that you're planning on having?
Well, that's what I was just asking you all. It would be 2:30-ish is when I'm thinking, but I have to know that folks would feel like it was something they wanted to stay around for, because I don't want to ask somebody to come from somewhere else, a couple people, and
Susan, would it be fair for us, sir, to send a survey out to everybody, then you can have a number, because to sit here and try to decide now, I don't know if you would get the numbers that you might need to have.
yeah, I mean, y'all can just let us know, but you gotta let me know soon. And I appreciate.
I mean, if you just send a survey out to everybody, the central, then you can have an idea how many people gonna come.
What would help me to decide be knowing about how long it might run, because we have our NAACP Gun Banquet that night at 5 o'clock back in Gloucester.
Yeah. It is about the, you know, the time frame. And I realize, you know, that this is a long day for everybody, but I also am, in the back of my mind, I'm hearing on our last call, we all talking about, you know, wanting more things to come to Richmond for, or to come to wherever for. So just trying to figure out where that sweet spot is on that.
Yeah. I mean, last I looked at the room schedule, we, the LGBTQ caucus, and there was a central committee that was meeting right after a congressional district committee meeting right after central. So if that's going to be added, we just probably need to know sooner rather than later, so we can let people know that our time will be later, so that we're not stepping on that panel.
Yeah, well, I think, and I also think we'll work with you on that, Joel, so you can have all your meetings. Okay, we'll be back in touch, and if y'all just just drop an email to the political team and Sean, and let us know. And you don't have to please don't worry about overthinking. I'm just trying to get a sense. And is there anything else then? Anybody else have anything?
To adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I really appreciate all the input.
And we appreciate the offer.